So it finishes Brentford 1, Arsenal 1. Let's just remind you what that means at the top of the table. Manchester City with that win over Fulham yesterday means that it's just 4 points. Now at the top, I think it's fair to say, obviously, Aston Villa out of the race, but City still breathing down the neck of Arsenal. Julien joins us. Jules, for those who are maybe focused on the Barcelona game, take us through this tie.
This was great, especially in the second half. The first half was maybe a bit more laborious from both teams, but Brentford in that first half preventing Arsenal from playing completely. Their press worked really well. Yannet caused a lot of problem. When Brentford were building up from the back, I never thought I would say that Arsenal would struggle in a game where Yannet was the key man and the key player, but that was the case in the first half. Second half, Arsenal were better. Mikel Arteta made some changes. They pressed better. They were more intense. I thought they deserved to take the lead. And after that, it was very much open. And when you look at this Arsenal team with Odegaard and Saka on the bench, who would come on later, but still sitting on the bench, no Saliba. And Mosquera at times, as we saw in the highlights, making a couple of mistakes against Thiago Silva. I think in the end, this is a good point for Arsenal away from home in a really tough game. As we saw for the expected goals, they were well beaten by Brentford on that data. So I think Mikel Arteta, in the end, even if you obviously dropped technically 2 points, I don't think Arsenal were good enough tonight to win at Brentford.
Nobody's doing... I saw Brentford, I've seen them a few times, but I saw them absolutely outplay Chelsea and lost because they made some mistakes. So it was always going to be a tough game for Arsenal. But, you know, the centre-halves with Thiago, you know, the physicality, 1-0 up. You know, at the end of the season, when you look back, 1-0 up, digging it out. Sunderland, 2-1 up, dig it out. Lost some points there. So these are the little moments where, at the end of the season, you look back and go, wow, it was a decent point in that, actually. Or that's where it's cost us. So we'll find out at the end of the year what that is. But I tell you what, Jules, nobody is doing more, in my opinion, with less in the Premier League than Keith Andrews. Yeah, you're right. And at the time where we talk a lot about Thomas Frank and Brentford letting him go and replacing him with Keith Andrews, and this team being even better than they were last season without Mbomo, Norgard and Wissa is pretty much exceptional. And you know, tonight, again, they do all the basics so right. Everything in terms of their discipline defensively, how aggressive they are on the front foot. They are one of the most physical teams in the league. The throws, the set pieces, Igor Thiago up front. That is such a handful. That midfield, that works really well. And they were very smart, I thought, especially in the first half, which caught Arsenal a bit cold in the way they build up from the back, in their rotation in midfield, which I don't think Arteta and Arsenal players expected that from them, because that's not really what we've been used to so much. So, yeah, credit to Keith Andrews again for the job that he's been doing. And for the season that they're having, they're still very much fighting to finish top 6 and 7, by the way. Might still take them into Europe next season, which will be incredible for them. Just keep throwing City a bone, didn't they?
Absolutely.
You know, Man United at home was unexpected. Dropped points. A couple of others, you know, Forest away. Brentford, good side, but I think they've won the last 4 there, I believe. Might be wrong, but I think they've won the last 4 at the GTEC Arsenal. And they just keep throwing that little bone City's way, just to keep them from being demoralised. Because when you put somebody 7, 8, 9 points behind at this point of the season, you go in the dressing room as an opposing player and go, we get no. You don't say it in front of the manager,
sure,
because he doesn't want to hear it. But amongst the players, they say, look at this Arsenal team.
Yes.
You know, they're just not good. They're relentless, and it demoralises you as the chasing team. But they just keep giving. And I'm not saying they're really bad. They're not. They're the best squad in the country, the best team in the country. But they just keep giving Guardiola's team something to hang on to.
Gyökeres back in the starting 11. How would we rate him today, Jules?
I thought he worked really hard and clearly to beat that press, especially in the first half. Clearly the aim from Arsenal was to play long on him, and it's not easy when you've got Ayer behind you and the Brentford defenders, but I thought he did okay. There was a chance in that second half, we didn't show you on the highlights, where Arsenal moved the ball really well on the right-hand side, and then Rice, instead of going for goal himself, tried to play the ball almost in the 6-yard box for Gyökeres, and Coyote comes back and just clear the ball at the moment where Gyökeres is going to hit it and score from that close range. You see there the touch mark that he had. The problem, obviously, as you can see, is the last two numbers in the stats. The fact that he has 0 XG because there was 0 shot on target, on goal, and that's the problem, obviously, in a team like that. But tonight was a game where it would have been great for him to score, sure, but you also needed him more, for all that kind of work to get the block higher from Arsenal, to try to beat their press, to be a handful for the Brentford defenders, which I think he can do and try to do tonight.
And currently where we are, Jules, say there's 3 games left in the season, right? Thinking ahead. City are level in points, are chasing you down. You've got Havertz, Gyökeres and Jesus fit. Where do you think he goes? What piece of the pawn does he put on the board?
I think Arteta will choose depending on who they face, because I think Havertz was not available, was not fit for tonight, so it was Gabriel Jesus or Gyökeres. In a game like this, away, under the rain, the cold, the wind, everything you want, you put Gyökeres to play against that Brentford defence more than Gabriel Jesus, to be fair. And that's what he did. If the opponent had been somebody else tonight, he might have well more fancied Havertz if he'd been fit, or Gabriel Jesus. The good thing, as we've explained before on the show, the different of profiles, which I think is very good to have variations in your number 9 that you can play, because it will help you, different combination you can have, different system, but also you can adapt to the opposition. Havertz is probably a bit of a mix of the two, and then you've got 2 extreme profiles between Gabriel Jesus and Gyökeres, and that could be a good thing, as long as, obviously, you pick the right guy. If you do that, depending on who the other position is.
What was you laughing at?
Was that a chess reference? What was that? What piece of the pawn do you put on the board?
I'm not a chess player.
Well, clearly. What does that even mean?
It's all I can think about.
Jules, with your Arsenal...
Hey, Jules got it.
Well, he was being polite. Jules,
I'll go home, you know.
With your Arsenal ways, Gyökeres is great. Are you worried?
No, and I don't think anybody should be worried. Why would you be worried for?
4 points, Jules.
But 4 points, it could well be 6, not this weekend because the FA Cup, but the following weekend. Or, it could go up to more than that, or it could stay at 4. And, City will have to play Brentford. Okay, it'll be at the Etihad, but they will still have to play Brentford. City are not going to win every single game between now and the end of the season. Neither will Arsenal.
He's worried.
No, I'm not. I promise you.
That's too much. Where is your bishop on the board?
I don't understand why you would say they're worried. 4 points.
Look, see, your voice is gone high, you're talking quicker, Jules, you can feel it.
Because I'm trying to convince you and to tell you that, relax, let's all relax here.
Everybody relax.
What's the bishop and what else is there?
That's a rook. Queen, king. More chess talk on Extra Time. It's Stevie's lovely new doormat. You can check that out over on YouTube.